Oh, gotta adjust the camera. There we go. I just realized I forgot to do an intro to this video. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Bunny or Gun Bunny, and this is my journey through guns and cosplay. Now, who's a more iconic gunslinger than Indiana Jones? I decided I was going to do my own version of Indiana Jones, but as a femme fatale. Most of my cosplay was actually thrifted, like the pants, the shirt and belt, for example. But I decided to order the whip, of course, and make the bag and a idol because, you know, I have to make my life hard. And so here is the making of and the like reveal slash, I don't know, little end bit skit of my Indiana Jones cosplay. All right, let's get started. Oh, also, before we continue, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and share if you like this content, please, because the algorithm sucks. And also look forward to videos. I post every Monday and every Thursday. So if you want to see my videos, go check them out. Yeah. All right, I'm so weird. What was I doing with that hand? So I'm making my Indiana Jones cosplay. Now, most of it has been thrifted, and it's just kind of sitting over there on that chair, right? Sorry, I have to get the camera right. There we go. But I wanted to make a few things to kind of like really fill it out so it wasn't just shirt, pants, hat, whip. I want to get, I'm trying to like stay on budget, so I'm probably going to make this all with materials that I have already on hand. I want to make an idol prop. I want to make his satchel. I'm not sure what I'm doing for the satchel in the bag yet, but I do know what's going to take the longest is making the idol, because especially there might be some, you know, trial and failure here because I have never made anything like this before. I mean, I've sculpted before, but not with this type of clay. And I am not the best sculptor. I am great at lots of types of art. I am an artist. Like, this is the only thing I am trained in. I went to a bunch of school for it, but sculpting is not my thing. So let's get started with foam clay, and we're gonna try to make the idol. You know, I'm gonna try to do it without this for now and just use the tinfoil as the base. And maybe that will save me that, but I might have to restart this whole thing, so. Been so long since I've done something like that. Yeah, the thing is, it's a really weird shape. Like, it's a woman on her knees, I think. It's like a really big bobbly head, and then it's kind of like having legs going back. Like, if I had a baby doll and I could like cut up the limbs and re-glue it, that would be a great base for this. But since I don't, this is what we're working with. I mean, obviously you can always go like this, but that just seems silly. When I could just, you know. Because I hate myself, I decided to not go the full tinfoil route. I decided I am going to cut into this and make a ginormous mess and hate myself. All right, so I have the like base done in foam and tinfoil, and yes, it looks absolutely fucking insane, but this is enough of a base shape where I feel like, one, if I do any more, sorry, I'm moving the camera while I'm talking, I know I'm not supposed to do that. One, if I do any more, basically I will just get too in the weeds with the tinfoil and I will just lose my mind. And two, it's enough structure where I do feel like I'm not going to be building up too much clay. So okay, so it thins out like really fast. Back the next day, and I've given myself a very fast deadline on this, so I have to finish this video the entirety today, and I have to film another video today and pack and clean because I'm leaving for the weekend soon. Did I forget my Coke? Damn it. Okay, I'll be back in a minute, but this is where we are. We left the sculpture last night, and as you can see, it is pretty hard now, which is good because if you did not tell, I was getting pretty frustrated last night with working with the whole thing as soft as it was. So I'm not having the best day in terms of like getting things done. I'm really struggling, and I have to finish this video today. And I'm also not a sculptor, and so I am like, it's just a prop for this one video I mean, it's for the cosplay in general, but I still have stuff to make for this cosplay, and I have to film this whole video. And it's not going well, so I think I'm just going to paint it as is, and it's just going to be fine. The base yellow, so while it dries, I'm going to work on the box. I had extra yellow, so I just painted this canvas, and so I'm probably just going to use that as a base drop for the painting, because I don't like to waste paint. So while this dries, I'm going to go make the bag. John's bag, I think, is an essential part of his outfit, and now it's pretty much like a basic satchel made out of green or brown canvas, depending, and you would think that I would have a basic bag like that, but as someone who collects bags, I don't. Like, I have a lot of purses, you know, but none of them are even remotely appropriate for Indiana Jones. But what I do have is 2 of these. Man, it's getting stuck on a hanger, damn it. Why did I have to film this in my closet? These World War II belt, like grand clip bandoliers that I ordered for my Captain America cosplay that I ended up not using. Now what I will use them for is the fabric for making the satchel, because I can't make anything easy on myself, and I've lost my goddamn mind. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the back strap yet, but you know, we'll figure it out. Alrighty, so we're back in the studio, and I'm not wearing pants because I don't want to deal with them right now. I'll take them off so my skirt didn't get like dirty while painting, and I just kind of didn't put it back on. So now we're not going to be super screen accurate with this because, again, this is my version of Indiana Jones, is Femme Fatale Indiana Jones, and because I have this to work with. So my thought process is that I am going to rip out the stitching from these, because this is basically just one piece of fabric folded in half, or kind of in half, but then with this little flap folded over it. And I can basically use this to harvest the fabric. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a seam ripper, rip out the seams, and kind of get my nice flat piece of fabric, and then I'm going to iron it and then pin it into like a sort of bag shape and then sew it together. But yeah, let's get started. Mr. Hunter. First step is obviously finding the seam ripper that I lost somehow, even though it's like one of my most used tools. I have 3 of them. I have an entire drawer for them too, and none of them are in there. I can look in this miscellaneous pile of stuff for 30 seconds. I have one more place to look before I give up and use something else. All right, well, the only know where it is I left it at the shop, so I'm using an X-Acto knife, and hopefully I don't fuck up this cheap-ass fabric. Yay! Welcome to my channel. It's called Chaos Sewing. Yes, I could do this with full pair-size plus scissors, but I'm gonna make my life interesting. So basically, I'm just gonna go in and like saw at the seams. And since this is really cheaply made, it is coming apart super easy. I just realized I have to keep it on camera for y'all. And basically I just have to saw one seam, and I can just basically rip open the rest. So I'm gonna do editing magic, and then like, you know, I'll snap my fingers and it'll magically be all ripped apart. 1, 2, 3. When I started my channel, I decided that I was not going to monetize through YouTube, and I wasn't going to do sponsorships unless like Uncrustables wants to sponsor me. So I decided to basically be crowdfunded. The way that you can support me is through my Patreon, which is the link below. The paid tier starts at $5, and then there are many levels with different perks from there. So please go check it out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you can also support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing my videos, checking your feed every Monday and every Thursday for my new videos, because that's when they come out, and YouTube's algorithm is a little bit of a bitch sometimes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video and my channel in general. Bye. Why didn't that work? It works when other YouTubers do it. Oh, right, I actually have to do the thing and then we cut in real time. Damn. I'll be back. Right, we're back. Okay, so I'm moving my camera. You can deal with it. I have the 2 pieces of fabric. And now I'm gonna iron them and plan out how I want to actually construct this bag, preferably with minimal effort. So I think what I'm gonna do is keep these like seam folds that are in there for now, at least, until I know what I would fully want to do. But I'm gonna iron out the like pleats. I'm gonna do the very scientific method of just folding this in half and cutting it like this. Hunter, can you please move, baby? No. So I'll just have to cut it like this and hope it goes well. Yes, I know there's all the loose threads. I will remove them eventually. Ta-da! 2 pieces of fabric. Hooray! Now, to explain what I'm trying to do further is, see how there's this extra piece here and here? Basically what I will do is I will sew these together, right? And I'll create kind of like, and then they'll flatten out, and then ta-da, you'll have a bag shape. And then I'll use these and I'll create side strips and then the flap. Now the real question is, how do I want to construct this? Do I want to put the side pieces on first? Do I want to attach the flap first? What is going to give me the most seamless construction? Just for sake of planning, I'm going to pin these 2 bottom pieces together just so I can like think about this slightly easier. It's just, and I can plan out the shapes of the side pieces, the flap, and cut those out, and then I can pin it together and I can visualize it a little bit better and see how I want to construct this. I'm not working from a pattern because I know how sewing works. I mean, working from a pattern is usually the best idea, but I can also make my own sometimes, or just be silly and do things like this. All right, so this will go like this, and then I knit like that, somewhat of a bag shape. Already seeing how that is going together, I think that I will probably end up sewing this line first, ironing it, and then putting in the side flaps, and then last putting on the front flap, though I may put the front flap on first to make it easier to sew the side flaps in, but who knows? All right, let's get to cutting the side flaps. I'm sorry, Hunter, I will have to kick you out temporarily, baby. I know. Can you move, baby? I know, I'm giving you pets, which does not make you want to move, but you gotta go. Come on. What if I make you a nice cozy spot to lie? I'll empty out a box for you. Hunter, look! It's a box. Hunter likes boxes. Come here. Come here, kitten. Go sit in your box. He really likes boxes. So, if you get in the box, by the way, I will show you because, you know, box tax. Oh, he's going to investigate. Let's see. Oh, he's getting in. Success! See, look at that. That's amazing. Alrighty. Now that we have this flattened out, I can actually measure how much I need for the flaps. Now, oh my god, look at that, guys. It's almost exactly the same. That's kind of wild. Well, alrighty then. So, I'm gonna pin this here so I can measure it accurately, and I don't end up with like wonky ass flaps on the sides. Voila. Alright, and then I need to decide on thickness. I'm doing my thought process correctly. The thickness should be about as thick as the bottom is, right? Yes, so I'm gonna measure it because I'm smart and I know how to do sewing. Where did I see? I had the measuring these, right? Look, I said I'm smart and I'm good at sewing. I never said I was good at organizing my art studio. Kitty tax. All right, pencil. Let's measure this boy. Why am I starting at not 1? Okay, so I couldn't get an exact measure in inches, so I'm gonna actually do it in centimeters. So it is 6 centimeters. So, sorry, I was just getting a text. We're going to measure 6 centimeters on these, and also where it ends here. And I'm gonna actually just snip it, because I know myself. Scraps for Hunter. All right, now I'm going to cut this strip out. I'm gonna measure basically just like 6 centimeters in a few places. So I actually have a reference point, and it's a right angle, so I don't, so I can just line it up here. Isn't that so cool? And then I just connect them. I don't know why suddenly I'm doing an accent, but that's new. This is not the straightest, but you know what, it's fine. It will, well, I have to include seam allowance. I'm silly, that's okay though. Okay, now I'm gonna cut out the strips and then pin it all together, and we're gonna just do a time lapse through all of that because, So what I have done now is I have pinned everything that I'm gonna sew first in place. So I pinned these 2 pieces together, and then I pinned down, like basically rolled seams on the side straps so that when I sew them in to this, basically the edges will all be finished. And then I have done that on the other thing, and then I've done that as well on this flap. And then so I can sew it in. Once I sew these 2 seams on this flap, I'm gonna pin this here to this top so that it can come over like a flap. I'm now thinking about, before I start anything else, what I want to do for the body strap. I think what I'm going to do is use this because they're pretty long, as you can see. Like, it'll give me a lot of length, and I can just kind of attach it. And then I'm using this all from this. I might use the rest of this to like reinforce that, but before I get on that, I'm going to sew all of the stuff that I have pinned in first, and then think about that basically. So I'm not like juggling too many things at a time. So I'm gonna grab my sewing machine and I'm gonna pin these all in, and we're gonna do that as time lapse because this video is gonna be way too long otherwise. I'm planning on making it screen accurate, and I'm still not, but I did notice that he has 2 buttons to close it on the front, and they kind of just seem to be like basic like buttons like this. So I found 2 of these, and I'm going to mark them out now before I sew the rest of the bag together. Okay, so I have sewn the sides together, and then I also, off camera, basically just went over it with a zigzag stitch. Sorry, people are texting me. I'm putting my head back up. Okay, so that means that the next step is to basically pin it, assemble it, and then mark out where I want the buttons to go, and then put those in before I actually assemble it. And then I'm so close to being done. I just gotta clean up the, like, you know, threads and snip all the edges and whatever, and then from this point. Oh, and I gotta add the strap. Fun. All right, so you see how this kind of is like, I don't know, a deconstructed ball. Yeah, basically I'm gonna make it less deconstructed and constructed. But I'm going to do it because sewing things, you know, reasonings. I accidentally sewed in place with steep. I don't know why I'm still using the exact knife. I found my seam ripper. All right, there we go. So I'm going to pin this in place if it wants to cooperate. Corners are always hard. All right, there. And then go like this. Voila. I'm going to unpin it because actually I'm silly. Actually, I'm going to start from this side. Oh, wait, but my markings on this. And I lied. Oh, I'm adding a horizontal pin basically just to make the fabric behave the way I want. And then I'm going to pin along seam allowance. Look, it's not supposed to be the neatest bag ever. It's just supposed to be functional. It doesn't need to look pretty. So, all right, now that I'm getting to the end, now I do this. But yeah, this is what I learned from when I was making my Uncrustable bag. Like, making 3D shapes like this is really fucking annoying. And there are easier ways to do this, but again, like, I just refuse to make it easy on myself apparently. Okay. That is done. Now do the other side. Off camera, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew these lines that I just pinned and then serge them like I just did with the other stuff. And then we're gonna come back for finishing. Okay, have the bag together. Just turn it right side out. Duh, it is a bag. I really like how this turned out actually. Like, look at that. It's so cute, right? Basically, all I'm gonna do now is sew on the buttons, snip all of these threads that come everywhere, and then attach the straps to the loops. And I'm gonna do that off camera again because video length, and also it's just faster if I don't film. But yeah, and then we will get to le reveal. All right, so the bag is done. The statue is also painted gold. Yes, it looks ridiculous, but it's the general shape and vibe. It's just not detailed, okay? It's like there's tiny little bits of spots that are still wet, so I'm gonna let it dry a little bit more. But I'm gonna show you guys the bag. Look, and I put the buttons. I think it did pretty well. The only thing left before I do the reveal is this is the hat I have, and the only issue is that it's a little bit big on me. So, I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna do something ridiculous, but basically I'm just gonna hot glue some strips of fabric into the middle to make it fit my head better. I'm not even gonna film this because this is so bad. This is, you know, I'm better than this, but I know there are better ways to shape a hat and make it smaller, but it's so late at night, like it's dark already, and I'm really running low on time and I have to film this, so yeah. So I'm gonna do that while the gold paint dries, and then we're gonna get into costume and do the reveal. I feel ready to go, you know, do some archaeology, shoot some Nazis. I'm kind of obsessed with this. That's a nice crack. I don't know why he sticks it in his pants. Like, it's not that easy to draw. Jesus Christ. No, a guy with a sword. I said dual wielding. I don't think anybody actually meant revolt pistol in one hand and whip in the other, but I totally knew what weight this was before I went into the booby-trapped cavern to steal this artifact. It's maybe one of my favorite cosplays yet. All right, that's it. Bye!